At this time, I would actually open the floor for a few questions from the press and, direct them as appropriate. As I said, we have of course, our MD and CEO. We have our General Manager, Corporate Banking and Capital Markets. We have our CEO of the JMMB Investments. We have retail, of course, and of course, we have our Deputy Chair for information on the group. And we have various team members around the room. So, floor is open.
Hello, Alim Khan Express. Mr. Campbell, the cost of the acquisition in 2004 and 2013, could you tell us?
Wow. I'll be honest with you that I don't have those figures just now. I don't remember them, and I never worked with them. But in making the acquisition, or at the start of any year, what we do is we look at our capital, and we have a process in which we allocate capital based on our strategic plan. And in this case, we thought that with regard to our future in becoming a group, we thought that it was a reasonable figure. We actually went out, we got it valued. As you know, the Mittal Group was part owners. We discussed it with them. I think that the first acquisition, when we got 50%, I believe it was an extremely good deal. I remember the figures that we were very happy, and even with the last amount, with our strategic plan, as a group direction, we thought that the figures were well within reach, and that we would have been able to make this investment and be happy with the returns.
You point to a good deal. You got a good deal for the shares. Now, I'm saying, does that fall within the $1 million bracket, the $1,000 bracket? What exactly, if you can't put a specific figure?
It was, if you look at the capital base, it was over a couple $1 billion, yes. So, yes.
With this acquisition, what size of your capital does it bump it up to, or what size of your ownership does it bump it up to?
No, our ownership is now 100%,
right,
in which we have that. But as part of our overall capital base, JMMB Bank would probably be less than 20%
of
the group. Yes, yes.
Okay. This is happening at a time when the overall external forces around your bank is, the economy in particular is contracting. I guess does this pose a challenge to your bank?
When you look at the history of JMMB, we started in Jamaica at the time of the financial crisis in 1992. And then there was a financial crisis of 1997. What we do is we look at the long term. We take the long-term view and position ourselves to deal with all the future problems. We also have an extremely good risk department in which we assess the future. We recognize that there are temporary blips, and that there are times when there are opportunities to be made even when there is a crisis. And that has been our mantle, really, of going ahead, knowing fully well that there are challenges, but we prepare for them, we plan for them, and we have been successful wherever we go with that model.
The manufacturers in Jamaica, there's been some heavy debate between the Trinidad manufacturers and the Jamaican manufacturers. Perhaps a relationship that's maybe going sour. But how do you gauge your relationship with the Trinidadian counterparts here and Jamaica?
Okay. In every family, and I don't know you, I'm from a fairly large family with it's 6 of us as children. And you do have challenges from time in which family members always squabble. The key, though, is to listen to each other and to, in fact, listen to the grouses, plan for it, and the sooner you deal with those grouses, the better it is. But we believe that CARICOM, the Caribbean family, it's one family. We have much more in common than differences. The key is for us to talk, listen to each other, and overcome all the problems.
So you don't see a challenge there?
Not at all. We believe as long as we talk to each other, we listen to each other, we can deal with it. And just on Friday night, I heard President Carmona speaking of the same issue, and he again is saying, let us talk to each other, let us listen to each other, and we will overcome whatever problems we have with each other.
With this acquisition, you would have dealt with the regulator and with the system here in terms of the legal aspects of it. You know it more than I do. What are your thoughts now that you've gone through the whole scenario of an acquisition? It would not have been smooth sailing. So what's the picture you see?
The truth is, regulators almost throughout the world have a core basic requirement. And therefore, it's no different from the regulators in Jamaica. However, there are a few legal items which are different. And what we do, wherever we go, our commitment is to be always within the law. And we operate as such. And our members operate in that manner. And we keep close relations because we don't believe in hiding things. We believe if you have a problem, speak up, deal with it, and that is part of the vision of love. That even within the company, there's a problem with one person. It is not to, in fact, sweep it under the carpet. It's to take it out, clean it up, and we move forward.
GMMB Investments...
Let me just respond there as well. We have never had any problem with our regulator. We work very closely with them, and we understand the need for the regulation, and we work very, very closely. Part of our core values is openness, transparency, and integrity, so that we have never had any problem with our regulator.
Okay, just a bit of clarification though. GMMB investment products to be offered at the bank. How is that going to work? I know you're still waiting on approval of some sort. Explain all of that right out until how you're going to offer
ask
it.
Nigel.
We have been licensed as an agent to distribute the mutual funds, the GMMB mutual funds, and in every situation like that, we have, and Ron could talk to that more than me, but we have licensed and qualified investment advisors. And we work, as you said, very transparently and very openly when we are talking to our clients. All our advice is based on an in-depth understanding of their financial situation, their life stage. If you look in the document we have given you, on the inside page you will see the life stages. When we have a conversation with you, it depends on whether you are a fresh graduate or like me, a decrepit old man looking to retire. So we have that conversation, and that informs the way we provide advice. Ron, I don't know if you want to add to that.
What sort of products?
So, as Nigel mentioned, on the banking side, what we have obtained is approval to distribute the mutual funds. The investment company, of course, will continue to focus on serving the needs of our clients outside of just plain mutual funds, which would be the broad range of investment solutions that have to be sold essentially by a registered financial representative. So investments focuses on full suite of products, solutions, both targeted towards individuals as well as corporations.
And just to clarify, for banking clients, they will be able to access the mutual funds at a banking location because as a registered agent, we are free to do so.
So you are a small, nimble, tech-savvy company. Now, in terms of the economic recession that Trinidad and Tobago is supposed to be in, how does this present? How does your company present this in this time of recession?
As I said in my remarks, I am an optimist because I am reminded that as an investor, the time to invest is not when the sun is shining, but when there's blood on the streets. That's when you look for opportunities. We are facing some tough times. I am reminded that tough times don't last, but smart and tough people do. This is a time for us to get closer to our clients and advise them as they work their way through this difficult period. It's easy to make money when the price of oil is at $120. It's a lot more difficult when we're dealing with $40 to $60. However, the people with solid value propositions, with well-managed businesses can succeed and will succeed. And we are prepared to work with them through this situation.
Good morning. This country is obviously facing some issues with foreign exchange. How does your institution intend to dispense the foreign currency? You know, a lot of institutions, the complaints from its customers is the shortage of foreign exchange and the inability to acquire the foreign exchange. What is your institution's policy and plans and, thoughts on this?
Okay. The issue with foreign exchange is a supply problem. As you know, with the price of oil and gas where it is, the profits of the energy companies are down. This has been exacerbated by the concessions that they have been given to invest. In a supply situation, one has to, for me and I think most of my colleagues in the banking sector, the factor that addresses the demand-supply issue is the price. The government is mindful of that, but is also mindful of the impact that the price or moving the price too quickly will have on inflation and that sort of thing. We sell what supply we have. We have a bias towards business as opposed to individual. We have a bias towards productive investment as opposed to consumption. And we will continue to do so. We all have to work through this situation. But as I said, ultimately, the arbiter of sorting out the supply-demand situation will be the price.
And ensuring that it stays within around 6.83. Do you agree with that move?
That's a policy decision made by the government. We have to see how it works out.
Is your bank in support of that consultation which the legislator pointed to in his mid-year review on the 8th? He pointed to consultation with the banks. And is your bank in favor of that?
Of course, we're always in favor of collaboration and conversation. And we will advise appropriately if asked, if and when asked. And we usually consult through the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
Is the shortage still a problem, and how big of a problem is it?
The shortage will continue to be a problem as long as demand stays where it is,
Yeah. Is there still a queue?
of course.
Yeah.